Hello. Welcome back. Today I wanted to kind of go back to our roots here on this channel and do a little soft-spoken reading. It's been a minute since I have done any of that, and I have missed it. We've been doing some fun other content, and I have some other ideas for cool videos in the pipeline that I want to get to, but I have been missing our reading content, so I thought we could return to an old favorite, the collected works of Poe that has served us very well thus far. But I thought we could go way back to the beginning this time and go for some of Poe's earliest poetry that we have. Some of his earliest poems from 1827. Now, this will be a soft-spoken reading video, some incidental mouth sounds, I'm sure, some pages turning, but should be nice and cozy and relaxed. So if that sounds like your cup of tea, I hope you will get cozy with me. This is my way of lulling myself to sleep tonight, any little wind down. So I thought it would be nice to do some reading together, and I hope you enjoy. We're going to be starting with Edgar Allan Poe's Imitation. A dark, unfathomed tide of interminable pride, a mystery and a dream should my early life seem. I say that dream was fraught with a wild and waking thought of beings that have been, which my spirit hath not seen. Had I let them pass me by with a dreaming eye, let none of the earth inherit that vision of my spirit. Those thoughts I would control as a spell upon his soul, for that bright hope at last, and that light time have passed, and my worldly rest hath gone with a sigh as it passed on. I care not though it perish with a thought I then did cherish. 1827. Next is A Dream. A wildered being from my birth, my spirit spurned control, but now abroad on the wide earth, where wanderest thou, my soul? In visions of the dark night I have dreamed of joy departed, but a waking dream of life and light hath left me broken-hearted. And what is not a dream by day to him whose eyes are cast on things around him, with a ray turned back upon the past? That holy dream while all the world were chiding, hath cheered me as a lovely beam, a lonely spirit guiding. What though that light through misty night so dimly shone afar? What could there be more purely bright in truth's day star? 1827. And continuing in the theme, his next poem is called Dreams. Oh, that my young life were a lasting dream, my spirit not awakening till the beam of an eternity should bring the morrow. Yes, though that long dream were of hopeless sorrow, 'twere better than the cold reality of waking life to him whose heart must be, and hath been still, upon the lovely earth a chaos of deep passion from his birth. But should it be, that dream eternally continuing, as dreams have been to me in my young boyhood, should it thus be given, 'twere folly still to hope for higher heaven. For I have revelled when the sun was bright in the summer sky, in dreams of living light and loveliness, have left my very heart in climes of mine imagining, apart from mine own home, with beings that have been of mine own thought. What more could I have seen? 'Twas once and only once, and the wild hour from my remembrance shall not pass. Some power or spell had bound me. 'Twas the chilly wind came o'er me in the night and left behind its image on my spirit. Or the moon shone on my slumbers in her lofty noon too coldly, or the stars. Howe'er it was, that dream was as that night wind. Let it pass. I have been happy, though but in a dream. I have been happy, And I love the theme, dreams in their vivid colouring of life, as in that fleeting, shadowy, misty strife of semblance with reality, which brings to the delirious eye more lovely things of paradise and love, and all our own, than young Hope in his sunniest hour hath known. 1827. The happiest day. The happiest day, the happiest hour, my seared and blighted heart hath known, the highest hope of pride and power, I feel hath flown. Of power, said I? Yes, such I ween, but they have vanished long, alas. The visions of my youth have been, but let them pass. And pride, what have I now with thee? Another brow may even inherit the venom thou hast poured on me. Be still, my spirit. The smile of love, soft friendship's charm, bright hope itself has fled at last. 'Twill never again my bosom warm. 'Tis ever past. The happiest day, the happiest hour mine eyes shall see, have ever seen, the brightest glance of pride and power I feel have been. But were that hope of pride and power now offered, with the pain even then I felt, that brightest hour I would not live again, for on its wing was dark alloy, and as it fluttered, fell an essence, powerful to destroy a soul that knew it well. Again, 1827. Song 2, blank. I saw thee on thy bridal day, when a burning blush came o'er thee, though happiness around thee lay, the world all love before thee, and in thine eye the kindling light of young passion free was all on earth my chained sight of loveliness might see. That blush, I ween, was maiden shame, and such it well may pass, though its glow hath raised a fiercer flame in the breast of him, alas, who saw thee on that bridal day, when the deep blush would come o'er thee, though happiness around thee lay, the world all love before thee. 1827. And next we have 4 stanzas, first with a little introduction. How often we forget all time, when lone admiring nature's universal throne, her woods, her wilds, her mountains, the intense reply of hers to our intelligence. In youth have I known one with whom the earth in secret communing held, as he with it, in daylight and in beauty from his birth, whose fervid, flickering torch of life was lit from the sun and the stars, whence he had drawn forth a passionate light, for such a spirit was fit. And yet that spirit knew not, in the hour of its own fervour, what had o'er it power. Perhaps it may be that my mind is wrought to a fervour by the moonbeam that hangs o'er, but I will half believe that wild light fraught with more of sovereignty than ancient lore hath ever told. Or is it of a thought, the embodied essence, and no more than with a quickening spell doth o'er us pass, as dew of the night-time o'er the summer grass? Doth over us pass, when, as the expanding eye to the loved object, so the tear to the lid will start, which lately slept in apathy. And yet it need not be that object hid from us in life, but common, which doth lie each hour before us. But then only bid with strange sound, as of a harp string broken to wake us. 'Tis a symbol and a token of what in other worlds shall be. and given in beauty by our God to those alone who otherwise would fall from life, and heaven drawn by their heart's passion, and that tone, that high tone of the spirit, which hath striven, though not with faith, with godliness, whose throne with desperate energy hath beaten down, wearing its own deep feeling as a crown. 1827. Evening Star. 'Twas noontide of summer, and mid-time of night, and stars in their orbits shone pale through the light of the brighter, cold moon, mid planets, her slaves, herself in the heavens, her beam on the waves. I gazed awhile on her cold smile, too cold for me. There passed as a shroud, a fleecy cloud, and I turned away to thee, proud evening star, in thy glory afar, and dearer thy beam shall be, for joy to my heart is the proud part thou bearest in heaven at night, and more I admire thy distant fire than that colder, lowly light. 1827. The Lake. In youth's spring it was my lot to haunt of the wide earth a spot the which I could not love the less. So lovely was the loneliness of a wild lake, with black rock bound and the tall trees that towered around. But when the night had thrown her pall upon that spot, as upon all, and the wind would pass me by in its stilly melody, my infant spirit would awake to the terror of the lone lake. Yet that terror was not fright, but a tremulous delight, and a feeling undefined, springing from a darkened mind. Death was in that poisoned wave, and in its gulf a fitting grave for him who thence could solace bring to his dark imagining, whose wildering thought could even make an Eden of that dim lake. 1827. Spirits of the Dead. Thy soul shall find itself alone, alone of all on earth, unknown the cause, but none are near to pry into thine hour of secrecy. Be silent in that solitude, which is not loneliness, for then the spirits of the dead who stood in life before thee are again in death around thee, and their will shall then o'ershadow thee. Be still, for the night, though clear, shall frown, and the stars shall look not down from their thrones in the dark heaven, with light like hope to mortals given, but their red orbs without beam to thy withering heart shall seem as a burning and a fever which would cling to thee forever. But 'twill leave thee, as each star in the morning light afar will fly thee and vanish. But its thought thou canst not banish. The breath of God will be still, and the wisp upon the hill, by that summer breeze unbroken, shall charm thee, as a token and a symbol which shall be secrecy in thee. Now, I think we are going to finish with Tamerlane, which is much longer. A much longer poem, but this one does come with Poe's original footnotes in the text, so if you want to get the context from Poe himself, there are some options here, but this is the last entry we have before he moves on to 1829 writings, but this has quite a few stanzas, so let us get into it. Tamerlane. I have sent for thee, holy friar, but 'twas not with a drunken hope which is but agony of desire to shun the fate, with which to cope is more than crime may dare to dream, that I have called thee at this hour. Such, Father, is not my theme, nor am I mad, to deem that power of earth may shrive me of the sin unearthly pride hath revelled in. I would not call thee fool, old man, but hope is not a gift of thine. If I can hope, oh God, I can, it falls from an eternal shrine. The gay wall of this gaudy tower grows dim around me. Death is near. I had not thought until this hour, when passing from the earth, that ear of any, were it not the shade of one whom in life I made all mystery but a simple name, might know the secret of a spirit bowed down in sorrow and in shame. Shame, saidst thou? I did inherit that hated portion, with the fame, the worldly glory, which has shone a demon light around my throne, scorching my seared heart with a pain not hell shall make me fear again. I have not always been as now. The fevered diadem on my brow I claimed and won usurpingly. Aye, the same heritage hath given Rome to the Caesar, this to me, the heirdom of a kingly mind and a proud spirit, which hath striven triumphantly with humankind. In mountain air I first drew life, the mists of the Taglay have shed nightly their dews on my young head, and my brain drank their venom then, when after day of perilous strife with chamois I would seize his den and slumber, in my pride of power, the infant monarch of the hour. For, with the mountain dew by night, my soul imbibed unhallowed feeling, and I would feel its essence stealing in dreams upon me, while the light flashing from cloud that hovered o'er would seem to my half-closing eye the pageantry of monarchy. And the deep thunder's echoing roar came hurriedly upon me, telling of war and tumult, where my voice, mine own voice, silly child, was swelling. Oh, how would my wild heart rejoice and leap within me at the cry, the battle cry of victory. The rain came down upon my head, but barely sheltered, and the wind passed quickly o'er me. But my mind was maddening, for 'twas man that shed laurels upon me, and the rush, the torrent of the chilly air gurgled in my pleased ear the crush of empires, with the captive's prayer, the hum of suitors, the mixed tone of flattery round a sovereign's throne. The storm had ceased, and I awoke. Its spirit cradled me to sleep, and as it passed me by, there broke strange light upon me, as though it were my soul in mystery to sleep. For I was not, as I had been, the child of nature, without care or thought save of the passing scene. My passions from that hapless hour usurped a tyranny, which men have deemed, since I have reached power, my innate nature. Be it so, but, Father, there lived one who then, in my boyhood, when their fire burned with a still intenser glow, for passion must with youth expire, even then, who deemed this iron heart in woman's weakness had a part. I have no words, alas, to tell the loveliness of loving well, nor would I dare attempt to trace the breathing beauty of a face, which even to my impassioned mind leaves not its memory behind. In the spring of life, have ye ne'er dealt some object of delight upon with steadfast eye, till ye have felt the earth reel and the vision gone? And I have held to memory's eye one object, and but one, until its very form hath passed me by, but left its influence with me still. 'Tis not to thee that I should name, thou canst not, wouldst not dare to think, the magic empire of a flame, which even upon this perilous brink hath fixed my soul, though unforgiven, by what it lost for passion, heaven. I loved, and oh, how tenderly, yes, she was worthy of all love, such as in infancy was mine, though then its passion could not be. 'Twas such as angel minds above might envy. Her young heart the shrine on which my every hope and thought were incense, then a goodly gift, for they were childish, without sin, pure, as her young examples taught. Why did I leave it, and adrift, trust to the fickle star within? We grew in age and love together, roaming the forest and the wild, my breast her shield in wintry weather, and when the friendly sunshine smiled and she would mark the opening skies, I saw no heaven but in her eyes. Even childhood knows the human heart, for when in sunshine and in smiles, from all our little cares apart, laughing at her half-silly wiles, I'd throw me on her throbbing breast and pour my spirit out in tears. She'd look up in my wildered eye, there was not need to speak the rest, no need to quiet her kind fears. She did not ask the reason why. The hallowed memory of those years comes o'er me in these lonely hours, and with sweet loveliness appears as perfume of strange summer flowers, of flowers which we have known before in infancy, which, seen, recall to mind not flowers alone, but more our earthly love and all. Yes, she was worthy of all love, even such as from the cursed time my spirit with tempest strove, when on the mountain peak alone ambition lent it a new tone, and bade it first to dream of crime, my frenzy to her bosom taught. We still were young, no purer thought dwelt in a seraph's breast than thine, for passionate love is still divine. I loved her as an angel might with the ray of the all-living light which blazes upon Edis's shrine. It is not surely sin to name with such as mine that mystic flame. I had no being but in thee. The world with all its train of bright and happy beauty, for to me all was an undefined delight. The world, its joy, its share of pain which I felt not, its bodied forms of varied being which contain the bodiless spirits of the storms, the sunshine and the calm, the ideal and fleeting vanities of dreams, fearfully beautiful, the real nothings of midday waking life, of an enchanted life which seems, now as I look back, the strife of some ill demon, with a power which left me in an evil hour. All that I felt or saw or thought, crowding confused, became with thine earthly beauty fraught, thou, and the nothing of a name. The passionate spirit which hath known and deeply felt the silent tone of its own self-supremacy, I speak thus openly to thee, 'twere folly now to veil a thought with which this aching breast is fraught. The soul which feels its innate right, the mystic empire and high power given by the energetic might of genius at its natal hour, which knows, believe me, at this time when falsehood were a tenfold crime, there is a power in the high spirit to know the fate it will inherit. The soul which knows such power will still find pride the ruler of its will. Yes, I was proud, and ye who know the magic of that meaning word, so oft perverted, will bestow your scorn perhaps where ye have heard that the proud spirit had been broken, the proud heart burst in agony at one upbraiding word or token of her that heart's idolatry. I was ambitious. Have ye known its fiery passion? Ye have not. A cottager, I marked a throne of half the world as all my own, and murmured at such lowly lot, but it had passed me, as a dream which of light step flies with the dew, that kindling thought. Did not the beam of beauty, which did guide it through the livelong summer day, oppress my mind with double loveliness? We walked together on the crown of a high mountain, which looked down afar from its proud natural towers of rock and forest on the hills, the dwindled hills where amid bowers of her own fair hand had reared around, gushed shoutingly 1,000 rills, which, as it were, in fairy bound embraced 2 hamlets, those our own, peacefully happy, yet alone. I spoke to her of power and pride, but mystically in such guise that she might deem it naught beside the moment's converse. In her eyes I read, perhaps too carelessly, a mingled feeling with my own. The flush on her bright cheek to me seemed to become a queenly throne too well, that I should let it be a light in the dark, wild, alone. There, in that hour, a thought came o'er my mind. It had not known before. To leave her while we both were young, to follow my high fate among the strife of nations, and redeem the idle words which, as a dream now sounded to her heedless ear, I held no doubt, I knew no fear of peril in my wild career, to gain an empire and throw down as nuptial dowry a queen's crown, the only feeling which possessed with her own image my fond breast. Who that had known the secret thought of a young peasant's bosom then had deemed him, in compassion, aught but one, whom a fantasy had led astray from reason. Among men ambition is chained down, nor fed, as in the desert, where the grand, the wild, the beautiful conspire with their own breath to fan its fire. With thoughts such feeling can command, unchecked by sarcasm and scorn of those who hardly will conceive that any should become great, born in their own sphere. It will not believe that they shall stoop in life to one whom daily they are wont to see familiarly, whom fortune's sun hath ne'er shone dazzlingly upon lowly, and of their own degree. I pictured to my fancy's eye her silent, deep astonishment, when, a few fleeting years gone by, for short the time my high hope lent to its most desperate intent, she might recall in him whom fame had gilded with a conqueror's name, with glory, such as might inspire perforce a passing thought of one whom she had deemed in his own fire withered and blasted, who had gone a traitor, violate of the truth so plighted in his early youth. Her own Alexis, who should plight the love he plighted then, again, and raise his infancy's delight, the bride and queen of Tamerlane. One noon of a bright summer's day, I passed from out the matted bower where, in a deep, still slumber, lay my Ada. In that peaceful hour, a silent gaze was my farewell. I had no other solace than to awake her, and a falsehood tell of a feigned journey, or again to trust the weakness of my heart to her soft, thrilling voice. To part thus, haply while in sleep she dreamed of long delight, nor yet had deemed awake that I had held a thought of parting, were with madness fraught. I knew not woman's heart, alas, though loved and loving, let it pass. I went from out the matted bower, and hurried madly on my way, and felt with every flying hour that bore me from my home more gay. There is of earth an agony which, ideal, still may be the worst ill of mortality. 'Tis bliss in its own reality to reel to his breast who lives not within himself, but gives a portion of his willing soul to God, and to the great whole, to him whose loving spirit will dwell with nature in her wild paths, tell of her wondrous ways, and telling bless her overpowering loveliness. A more than agony to him whose failing sight will grow dim with its own living gaze upon that loveliness around. The sun, the blue sky, the misty light of the pale cloud therein, whose hue is grace to its heavenly bed of blue, dim, though looking on all bright. Oh God, when the thoughts that may not pass will burst upon him, and alas, for the flight on earth to fancy given there are no words, unless of heaven. Look round thee now on Samarcand. Is she not queen of earth, her pride above all cities, in her hand their destinies? With all beside of glory which the world hath unknown, stands she not proudly and alone? And who her sovereign? Timur, he whom the astonished earth had seen, with victory on victory redoubling age, and more, I ween, the Zingus's yet re-echoing fame. And now what has he? What? A name. The sound of revelry by night comes o'er me, with the mingled voice of many, with a breast as light, if it twere not the dying hour of one in whom they did rejoice, as in a leader, haply, power its venom secretly imparts. Nothing have I with human hearts. When fortune marked me for her own, and my proud hopes had reached a throne, it boots me not, good friar, to tell a tale the world but knows too well, how by what hidden deeds of might I clambered to the tottering height. I still was young, and well I ween my spirit what it e'er had been. My eyes were still on pomp and power, my wildered heart was far away, in valleys of the wild Teglay, in mine own Ada's matted bower. I dwelt not long in Samarcand ere, in a peasant's lowly guise, I sought my long-abandoned land. By sunset did its mountains rise in dusky grandeur to my eyes. But as I wandered on the way, my heart sunk with the sun's ray. To him who still would gaze upon the glory of the summer sun, there comes, when that sun will from him part, a sullen hopelessness of heart. That soul will hate the evening mist, so often lovely, and will list to the sound of the coming darkness, known to those whose spirits hearken, as one who in a dream of night would fly, but cannot from a danger nigh. What though the moon, the silvery moon, shine on his path in her high noon? Her smile is chilly, and her beam in that time of dreariness will seem as the portrait of one after death, a likeness taken where the breath of young life and the fire of the eye had lately been, but had passed by. 'Tis thus, when the lovely summer sun of our boyhood his course hath run, for all we live to know is known, and all we seek to keep hath flown, with a noonday beauty which is all. Let life then as the day-flower fall, the transient, passionate day-flower, withering at the evening hour. I reached my home no more, for all was flown that made it so. I passed from out its mossy door in vacant idleness of woe. There met me on the threshold stone a mountain hunter I had known in childhood, but he knew me not. Something he spoke of the old cot, it had seen better days, he said. There rose a fountain once, and there full many a fair flower raised its head, but she who reared them was long dead, and in such follies had no part. What was there left me now? Despair, a kingdom for a broken heart. 1827. And that is the last of Poe's poems from 1827, and the last of our poems for the night. Let me know if you would like me to continue with his poetry, with some sonnets, or if there are any other Poe works you would like me to read that I haven't yet, this volume does have them all. So, whatever you'd like to hear from Poe, I have it. And I am probably happy to read it. I hope that you are feeling relaxed and cozy. I myself am fading quickly and very ready for bed. Hopefully I will see you in the next video or another one yet to come, whatever your cup of tea is. But I hope for now that you are cozy, relaxed, ready for sleep or just relaxation, whatever you need right now. I hope that you feel it and that you rest well, my friends. Goodbye, my love.